everyone, I'm Lan. Welcome to Flying Solo Salon. I'm building support for leftover women in China. For all of the fresh graduates in this auditorium, imagine what your life could be in the future. Now you have a master's degree. You will begin to work in a big city like New York, and not very long, you will develop a promising career and achieve financial independence. When you turn to 27 years old, if you are still single, you will have more possibilities to pursue your dream and explore new things. I believe nobody doubts this is a decent life for all modern people. But if you were a Chinese woman, most likely you would be called leftover women. Your parents, friends, colleagues would compare you to leftovers, which arouse feelings of not fresh, messy, devalued, and imply that nobody wants you, only because you are unmarried. In Beijing alone, there are over 500,000 single women are classified as leftover women. In China, over 5 million of single women are living under the pressure, which makes them feel anxious about their age and identity. Like one of my friends said, this society only acknowledges one way for women to achieve happiness, which is getting married. No matter how well I do my work, once I'm not married and don't have kids, I'm a loser in their view. Leftover women is just an event of the big issue of gender inequality in China. Chinese society is a typical patriarchal system. The mainstream has traditional stereotypes for women's role in family and society, which is doing housework, serving husband, and bringing up children. To the modern Chinese women who cannot fit in the stereotypes are confronting stigmatization. Leftover women is one of the popular stigmas and undermines a large number of women's well-being. I feel strong empathy with those women, so I wanted to know what I can do for them. I interviewed 25 so-called leftover women from 6 cities in China. They are in age from 27 to 40. They are lawyer, architect, teacher, manager, editor, researcher, doctor, student from all walks of life. And I found they have common struggles. They are devalued by their parents and relatives who urge them to marry. Like Xiaoyu said, her parents told her if she doesn't get married before 30, she will be discounted, and people around her always say she's too picky. Mandy wanted to apply for a PhD program, but her family members strongly opposed her because they thought it would be too hard for her to get married if she had a higher education level than the most of men. Hua Yi said she's afraid of being excluded by the mainstream society and lose connections with others. She doesn't think single women are connected. They are isolated individuals. The interviews led me to the 4 key insights. The first is, in fact, most of the leftover women are single professional women who are doing their work and life very well. Although society devalues them, they value themselves. The second is, they want to marry, but they are not willing to compromise. However, they don't have the bargaining power to negotiate with the mainstream who only sees women as servers, which means they have a clear goal that they want to have the value acknowledged by society. For achieving that goal, there is a precondition. They need a community to unite together. Currently, leftover women are isolated from each other. Although some of them strive to enter the mainstream, it doesn't work because each individual's effort is too weak to change the bias of society. But there is a big barrier prevents them from becoming community, which is the stigma of leftover women. With that stigma, they are afraid of being siloed as losers. Hence, they can only try to get out from leftover women group. So how might I take the initiative to unite those women together and help them to overcome the barrier of stigma so as to build a community to meet their need? In my hypothesis, as a start point, I would try to connect the women around me. We would form a small but high-quality group as a foundation of the community. Then we would raise a positive voice to the public. This voice would attract more target audiences to this group, so the community could grow. In my vision, the community will be included in the mainstream society. All the community members will be safe and achieve equal rights in family and society. So I'm building the identity and the community for single professional women in China to unite and challenge the stigma of leftover women in public. How did I do this? In the first place, I needed to understand them. I found that single professional women have good professional skills and resources, and they care much about social networking, as well as economic ability and self-development. In terms of target audiences characteristics, I adopted a three-step approach to build the community: connect, share, and voice. Instead of creating a new platform for the community, it's easier for my audiences to access to a platform which they already using every day. For Chinese, WeChat and Weibo are the most popular social media, so I used them to reach out to target audiences. For an initial prototype, I organized a WeChat group and did online sharing with my audiences. Since I understood that most of my audiences had communication difficulty with their family members, so I shared my knowledge of nonviolent communication to improve the relationships. After I went back to China, I hosted a whole-day local event called Flying Solo Salon, and I planned the agenda with my audiences. On that day, 37 people came. Everyone introduced themselves in turn. They shared their experience of being labeled as leftover women. Many spontaneous interactions happened, and they saw potential opportunities to benefit each other through connecting. I represented my project to them, and we had a group discussion about how to become community. One of the women said she appreciated that I brought them together and gave them a safe space to talk about the issue. She was bothered very much but didn't know how to change. Now she feels she can be part of it. We also had two guest speakers. One of them is a global traveler, the other one is a young entrepreneur. They told the amazing stories and empowered others to believe that they can also live the life they want. This event activated the positive part of the identity through connecting and sharing. I reframed the identity from leftover to flying solo and shifted their image from negative, passive, and laggard to positive, proactive, and progressive. Then, in order to bring the impact to public and to consolidate the community, it's important to form a cohesive narrative for internal and external communication. I collected all the stories from my audiences and wrote an article to discuss the issue of leftover women. I published the article on different media platforms on the eve of Chinese New Year, which is the peak time of forced marriages happening. All of my audiences joined, and we launched the campaign together to promote a social movement which aimed to challenge the public's bias and eliminate the stigma. The most successful one happened on Weibo. We used the hashtag No Forced Marriages New Year, and the campaign engaged thousands of users. They shared and discussed the issue very lively. Within 3 weeks, the post achieved over 1 million views, and the article had over 450,000 ratings. I received tons of comments. Someone said this article blew their mind and changed their perception about those women. Someone said it spoke to them and resonated with them very much. And someone shared the article with their parents and friends and brought up conversations they craved for a long time. Most importantly, our voice wakened up more women. They realized how important that women can connect and support each other and refuse to be accomplices of the patriarchy system which oppresses us. During the process of campaign, we continuously developed the WeChat group. Within 1 month, we accumulated 104 core members, and on Weibo, we also achieved 1,706 followers. And one of the community members designed a logo for us. Flying solo is a new identity for those women who deserve a good reputation for the courage to break stereotypes and lead the way for Chinese women. However, unfortunately, since our social media campaign attracted too much attention, on March 8th, the International Women's Day, our account on Weibo got censored by the authority. That was a big blow to us. We lost about 2,000 followers. We lost all the contents and the most important platform to voice. It reminded me that an anonymous user said, at the beginning, you thought you were resisting your parents. At the last, you will realize that you were resisting the country. In order to sustain the community safely, I try to navigate in local context, which means keeping away from politics. Hence, we didn't continue with the public campaign, but turned to develop an online sharing program in which we are still spreading word to more people. So, how are those women now? In the community, they found the way to grow. They collaborated with each other. Luo Si and Feng, two young entrepreneurs, collaborated with Qingqing to promote the company on her platform of Startup Grant. They supported each other. Yafeng started a business in healthcare, and Zheng Qiao, an expert in high-tech medical industry, provided her lots of suggestions. And they brought new blood to the community. Xueying came to Chengdu to attend the TEDx talk as a speaker. She introduced new friends she met in TEDx to join the community. One of them told me, I was anxious to get married because I was so afraid of struggling alone. But now I'm relieved seeing many people accompany me to work through the dark night together. We are flying solo, but we are not alone. Thank you and celebrate your accomplishments, girls.